Hey guys, today's video I'm talking about DNA and the double helix. Okay, so quick history about DNA. So in the early 1950s, there was a race to discover the structure of DNA. So at that point, they knew that DNA had been successfully extracted from the nucleus of cells. And then they also knew that chromosomes contain DNA. So then in 1929, Phoebus Levene had shown that DNA was made up of repeating units called nucleotides. Nucleotides are little components that make up DNA, and they are used to create a double helix. So they are not a double helix, but they do create it, and they're made up in DNA. So the structure of these nucleotides are that there are three parts: a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. And there are 4 different types of those nitrogen bases. And these are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. In a DNA molecule, the amounts of thymine and adenine are always the same, and the amounts of cytosine and guanine are always the same. For how to remember that G and C go together and T and A go together, I have a little rhyme for you guys, and that is cars in the garage. So cars go in the garage, so G, C, and apples in the tree, A and T. Get that in your brain, that will help you in the test, and you're gonna know the orders. Now, the reason that there's the same amount of A and T, which we are gonna call the adenine and thymine. Now, the A and the T are completely normal. This will be used by your science teachers. This will be used in your test, and you can say T and A. So A and T, and then and C and G. Now, these have the same amounts because it is always the base pairs up in a DNA molecule. There is always an adenine base opposite a thymine base, and there is always a cytosine base opposite a guanine base. If there's these opposite things, this is leading towards a thing called the double helix. So the double helix is kind of the shape of DNA, and you might have seen it. It's kind of that thing that wraps around. So that is a type of DNA. Okay, so these adenine, thymine, and all of that, AT, whatever you want to call it, we know that these are part of nucleotides, and we know that nucleotides are part of DNA. We then know that DNA is a double helix. In a DNA molecule, the nucleotides are linked together in different orders to make up a single strand of DNA. So that's kind of how everyone's got different DNA and everybody's different, we're not all the same. This is because the little orders that these little nucleotides are in these long strands of DNA, these double helix things are huge. We have huge amounts of these little double helix things all in our bodies, and they are in different orders. So it's there's none of the same little order, and that's why everyone is different. Double-stranded DNA is your double helix. So what does it all look like in a little scientific diagram for you guys? So the sugar and phosphate are the backbones. So they're the things that kind of twist. They're like ribbons around the edges. Now the little lines in between that make up the ladder and the little stepping parts are the paired bases. So one half of each of those little parts of the ladder as you go up are the paired bases. And these sections, these paired bases, this is 2 nucleotides. So one of these is a nucleotide, one of these is a nucleotide, and they make a paired base. These are laddered up into the little stairs, and then all around that is wrapped around in kind of a ribbony kind of style, and that is your sugar phosphate backbones. So each of these one little nucleotides in the middle are therefore made up of a sugar and phosphate linked to a base. I hope that helped you guys. That is basically the structure of DNA. That is nucleotides. That is a double helix. Hopefully that helps you guys have a little bit more of a better understanding. And yeah, make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and get ready for next video. Love you guys. Bye.